You're watching Open House. To be successful in real estate typically takes talent and the ability to really connect with your clients. Often, it also takes patience. Now we're taking the time to recognize two talented real estate professionals who have already mastered those essential qualities and more. They're part of Coldwell Banker's esteemed annual list, 30 Under 30.
Hi, I'm Irina Grinovich, a real estate agent with Coldwell Banker here in the beautiful Napa, California.
And I'm Josh Diaz, also with Coldwell Banker in Napa, California.
Coldwell Banker's 30 Under 30 is a great program which selects 30 individuals under the age of 30 based on their community leadership, sale volume, creativity in business, and so forth.
Since I started working with Coldwell Banker, the 30 Under 30s were my role models. I figured if they were young and successful, then I could do that too.
To be selected for Coldwell Banker's 30 Under 30 is such an honor.
I believe that success is surpassing the goals you set and then enjoying the fruits of your labor.
Being a mom of two children really leaves little room for error. I really need to focus on the time that I have to really put it into the business. And by being driven in all these parts of life, that's when I feel I'm successful.
And that's why Coldwell Banker is such a great firm to work for, because they set you up for that success.
I've always been fascinated with real estate. At first, I wanted to become an architect. I realized that I need more interaction with people. To me, real estate is a definition of American dream.
I wanted to be able to control my career and be flexible with my time, but also work with people on a daily basis. When I first started, I realized that social media was not being used at all.
Not only has technology changed the way buyers are looking for the property, it also changed the whole real estate game for the agents. In a competitive market like we have in the Bay Area, the young buyers are looking for a proactive and aggressive representation to get into home ownership.
I think younger buyers are looking for brokers that not only can respond instantaneously, they really want someone that can relate to the interests, where they are in life, and what their goals are going to be. If I live in this community and I say I care, if I care, then I should be doing something to make it even better. It's one thing just to say it and one thing to do it.
I want my community to be a great and safe place to raise my children and for my clients to also raise theirs. And that's what Coldwell Banker is all about, not only selling homes, but building communities.
The advice I'd give to someone going into real estate is to be open to change, to never think you know it all, and to always be listening for advice. At the end goal is you're finding someone their dream home. You are fulfilling that dream with them, which is awesome.
My advice to a young first-time homebuyer is not to rush into things.
Ask a lot of questions. Keep asking questions until you really know what's going on.
It is important to work closely with your realtor to analyze your personal situation.
And then listen to your agent for the rest of the transaction, because they have your best interest in mind. The daily work routine isn't a routine, and every day you're solving a different problem.
We're able to convey integrity and offer luxurious experience to our clients.
Coldwell Banker has provided the resources for me to be better than I'd ever dreamed. To find out if a career in real estate is right for you, just visit coldwellbanker.com.
Hello and welcome. Dan Siegler is the head of real estate at Google and joins me to talk about mobile. Dan, thanks and welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
More and more users are using mobile. Do you expect that to increase? Because it's going at a phenomenal rate now.
It is. We do. We think it will increase. Even specific to the real estate space, we did a study last year analyzing query behavior and also surveying in-market home buyers. And we found 72% of home buyers now use a mobile device as part of their journey. Just in the last 2 years, we've seen home buying, home shopping related queries on mobile devices more than double. When I say that, we're talking about a pretty big base to begin with. But we do think it will continue, and really fueled by now the emergence of voice search. Voice search is really the most quickly adopted technology by consumers since the smartphone. And it makes it so much easier to use mobile devices because it's so hard to type on them. And so as voice becomes more and more ubiquitous, right now we've got about 91 million people using voice actively. We think that will continue to fuel more and more mobile query behavior.
Of course, with Google Home now too, that's sort of, is that considered mobile?
It's not currently considered mobile. Very limited sort of advertising opportunities for now, but you're absolutely right to make that connection between voice now, starting on mobile devices and then coming to the home.
Because we talk about searching for real estate agents, Google Home, you ask her to tell me about the local real estate agent, the best real estate agent. That potential is there, isn't it?
It is, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Not hard to imagine a world where voice is the main way you're interacting with the internet.
I guess acting with everything, because voice activation in cars, it's just becoming more and more that we're just looking for devices. So the mobile sphere is more than just mobile phones and iPads, isn't it? I mean, mobile is just getting away from the desk.
It is, sure. I think different folks define mobile different ways. I mean, at Google, on the advertising side, we think of mobile as smartphones specifically. We even break out tablets separately for now. We actually have started grouping desktop and tablet together and then looking at mobile separately.
So when you talk about mobile, you're only talking there about phones?
About smartphones.
About smartphones.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. Is that the biggest growth sector in mobile? Or, I mean, we're looking at, is the phone taking over from the pad?
It has long since taken over from desktop and the iPad. We are years beyond the point where we used to call the mobile moment, which is when query volume on mobile exceeded that of the other two types of devices combined. Your mobile device is what you have on you all the time, really, and desktop and tablets tend to be more stationary devices, using them in homes. So,
we're talking here about real estate, of course, and real estate agents, but I'm just curious to know if there is one industry that's taking up mobile more than any other.
It's becoming ubiquitous, and even some of the industries that you might have thought a few years ago would never be disrupted by mobile absolutely have been. I mean, who would have thought a few years ago, outside of real estate, that 50% of people would be banking through their mobile devices now? Right now we're seeing 60% of job searches being conducted through mobile devices, things that you just wouldn't have thought of now. It is really becoming a mobile-first world.
Yeah. Do you think the real estate industry, real estate agents and brokers understand the importance of mobile or being seen on mobile, not just the internet?
Well, I think the real estate industry is waking up to that. I think collectively could probably stand to act with a little bit more urgency. I think there's there's a risk of only looking at competition within your space, looking at what other real estate companies and brands are doing. But I think you have to understand through the lens and perspective of the consumer. Every time they have a fantastic, super assistive and helpful experience through a mobile device, regardless of the industry, they see what's possible with that technology, and they come to expect that every time. And so real estate companies, with regard to consumer expectations, you're competing with the Ubers of the world, the Airbnbs of the world, the Amazons of the world, those that are at the vanguard of providing these amazing and helpful mobile experiences.
What do you see, what does Google see as the future real estate agent? I mean, how will they be working with mobile and with voice technology?
So I think there's more technology coming that will make mobile even more helpful and more ubiquitous. What we're thinking about now at Google, two areas, what we would call visual in and visual out. And vision in general, we think, is sort of the next phase of search to begin with. If you think about search starting with text inputs and outputs and typing, now we're talking about voice and how much easier that gets. We think visual is the next. And so visual in for us is about Google Lens, which essentially is a camera function that helps you scan and recognize objects in your environment and get more information about them. So consider home decor items, for example, right? Scanning that and then getting information about that item, getting recommendations for similar items that you might like, etc. Google Lens right now I can identify over 1 billion items, and that's only going to grow exponentially. The other piece of that, what we call visual out, also really exciting. That's essentially augmented reality or AR. And AR we really think is just about to sort of enter the mainstream. It's available on millions of devices now, but will really hit the mainstream. And so we still today probably associate AR with entertainment and those types of experiences, but ultimately the killer apps in AR will probably be ones that make life just a little bit easier. Some early examples we're seeing outside of the real estate space, the cosmetics company L'Oreal, familiar with them? So they acquired a company now that lets people virtually try on makeup to see how it would look before, not only before purchasing it, but they don't even have to really try it on, put it on their face and wash it off, they can just see. Mercedes-Benz, the car manufacturer, they're testing now using AR the user manual overlay. So now you're in your car scanning the different features of the car, and the user manual information just comes up through your phone. You don't have to open up the manual. So little things like that make a big difference in the everyday life of consumers.
Let's talk about augmented reality in real estate for a moment. Where do you see that going? What are some of the developments happening there?
So, I think we're still waiting for the industry to kind of get in front of that technology and innovate and show us how it could be used. I think it's not hard to sort of extrapolate off of some of the home decor and fashion uses we're seeing now and see how that can be impactful in a home, and looking at different features and understanding what you might want and not want in a home. But I think, right now, a lot of what we talk about in the real estate space, mobile specifically, video also, a lot of folks are playing catch up, right? Trying to catch up to existing consumer expectations. AR is really a great chance now to get in front of that, right? Because it hasn't gone mainstream yet. So testing those tools and features and figuring out, as you're saying, what will be those killer apps that we can provide so that we can get in front of consumer expectations and set the bar for others to catch up.
Do you find that consumers are really pushing this technology? They're looking for it before it's even there? I mean, are we adopting these sorts of new technologies much faster?
I don't. So I think the younger the demographic is, the quicker they are to adopt new technologies. And as millennials now are getting pretty close to the average first-time home buyer age of 32, you'll see that technology becoming that much more important and influential, and then moving upstream into the older demographics as well. Consumers don't necessarily know what they don't know, and so it's up to brands, right, to experiment and get in front of that and kind of show them what's possible.
Dan, a quick question on artificial intelligence. What are some of the developments in there that are going to impact the real estate industry?
Sure. So artificial intelligence are really exciting and quickly developing field, specifically, say, machine learning and computer vision. There are a couple of applications in the real estate space. It's trying to predict the future a little bit here, but I think I definitely see an application in the appraisal process, being able to factor in expected future home value in a way that the current human-only process doesn't really pick up. You can't really get it through comps. For example, trajectory of property tax rates, or maybe recent changes to zoning or transportation laws, right? Being able to factor in that expected future value. I think maybe the primary way we'll see our artificial intelligence changing the landscape in real estate is through natural language processing, which I'm excited for even as a consumer, because in this way you'll be able to essentially use chatbots to have a natural conversation with a buyer, to be able to quickly and accurately get them to the optimal set of listings. Right now we're really confined to checkboxes and filters and things that are more binary, that don't do as good of a job and aren't quite as seamless. Natural language processing will be able to differentiate between must-have and nice-to-have items and be able to sort of factor that in appropriately.
Fantastic, Dan. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. It's a delight to have you here, and especially to be able to talk to Google. I mean, it's a household name, so we're honoured. We're privileged.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.